Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be doing another update of Washington Reagan National Airport. Near the end of today's update I will be doing an overview of Reagan just so you guys are acquainted with how Reagan now looks, but as I said that will be at the end of today's update. So first we're just going to go through all the aircraft today, starting here at the express gates. So the first aircraft of the update is this American Eagle CRJ 700. This is my old one. This is the one I've had in pretty much every Reagan update. I say that because now we have three. For the first time we have three CRJ 700s in an update, this one being the one I've had for a very long time, and the next two will be the brand new ones from Gemini Jets. But here we have the first American Eagle CRJ 700. He's arrived in from Albany, New York, and he's going to be heading up to Detroit in Michigan. Next up we have one of the brand new American Eagle CRJ 700s. This one's arrived in from Birmingham, Alabama, and he's going to be heading out to Jacksonville in Florida. And then finally here for the CRJ 700s we have the third American Eagle CRJ 700. He's just arrived in from Manchester in New Hampshire, and he's going to be heading out to Providence in Rhode Island. Next up here we have one of the American Eagle ERJ 145s. Now while the ERJ 145s don't really come to Reagan, I've decided to add these in anyway just because we are really lacking in the American, well to be fair we're not really lacking in the American Eagle department, but just for Reagan we are kind of lacking. Of course I do have other American Eagle aircraft like these ERJ 145s and the CRJ 200s which are now retired from the American fleet, but primarily here at Reagan we only really get the CRJ 700, the CRJ 900 which I don't have, and then of course the Embraer 175s into Reagan. So I've decided that until we get another release of the CRJ 900s, because of course I wasn't able to get them when they were first released about over a year ago now, so I've decided I'm going to be using essentially these ERJ 145s as kind of a mix between the CRJ 700 and the CRJ 900. I mean it kind of works, these used to fly into Reagan anyway, so I figured that, you know, why not? But here we have an American Eagle ERJ 145, as I said. He's going to be heading out to Nashville, Tennessee after arriving in from Greenville, South Carolina. And then next up here we have an American Eagle Embraer 175. He's just arrived in from Savannah in Georgia, and he's going to be heading out to Indianapolis in Indiana. The Indianapolis route is scheduled to start on the American mainlines on November 3rd. I don't know what that'll be on. I presume that'll be on an A319, but we're going to have to wait until November to find that out. But yeah, we're going to have the Indianapolis route serving on the American mainlines instead of just on the American Eagles now, so that's pretty cool. And then finishing off for Concourse, we have another American Eagle ERJ 145. He's just arrived in from Burlington in Vermont, and he's going to be heading out to St. Louis in Missouri. Moving over to some of the American mainlines now, here we have the American Airbus A321neo. Of course there's not really many places you can send this one out to, so he's just arrived in from Phoenix, Arizona, and is going to be heading out to Los Angeles in California. Next up we have an American Boeing 737 MAX 8, again similar to the A321, not many places you can send this out to. In fact at the moment I believe there's only one destination the MAX 8 serves, or that I could find anyway, and so this aircraft has just arrived in from Miami, Florida, and he's going to be heading back out there. Then next up, while this is an Eagle aircraft, sometimes the American Eagle Embraer 175s do park over here. So here we have an American Eagle Embraer 175, as I said. He's just arrived in from Louisville, Kentucky, and he's going to be heading out to Raleigh-Durham in North Carolina. And then finally here for American Airlines, here we have an American Boeing 737-800. He's arrived in from Charlotte, North Carolina, and he's going to be heading out to Chicago, Illinois later on today. And then moving over here to Alaska. Now surprise, surprise, Alaska have had another equipment swap, not just a minute one, but an entire equipment swap. If you don't know, this is an ongoing thing at Reagan with Alaska. They keep on changing what they send to Reagan, and at the moment now they are just sending the 737-800s, as it seems. We've had times where Alaska have just sent the Airbus A321neos, they've sent the 737-900s, but now it seems like on all of their routes they're flying the 737-800s. And so starting off here with this Alaska Boeing 737-800 in the Honoring Those Who Serve livery, he's going to be heading out to Los Angeles in California today. And then behind that, here we have this regular livery Alaska 737-800. He's going to be heading out to Portland, Oregon. Then finally here for this concourse, we have this JetBlue A320. He is of course going to be heading out to Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Again, hopefully we do get some JetBlue E190s or some A220s in soon to kind of beef up on the JetBlue presence here at Reagan. But for now, here we have this A320 heading out to Fort Lauderdale. Then next up here, moving on to Delta, here we have this Delta Connection Embraer 170. He's going to be heading out to Madison, Wisconsin today. And then next up we have this Delta Boeing 757-200. He's going to be heading out to Atlanta, Hartsfield, Jackson. But then next here, moving over to United, here we have a United Boeing 737-800. He's going to be heading out to San Francisco in California. Then here, just pulling into the gates, we have a United Express CRJ 550. He's pulling in from Newark, New Jersey. And then finally here for United, here we have this United Express Embraer 175. He's of course going to be heading out to Chicago in Illinois. Moving over to Southwest now, here we have a Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the Canyon Blue color scheme. He's going to be heading out to Dallas Love Field in Texas. And then next up here we have another Southwest Airlines 737-700, this time in the Heart livery, and he is going to be heading out to Houston Hobby, also in Texas. And then finally for this concourse, here we have the Air Canada Express CRJ 900. He is of course going to be heading out to Montreal in Canada. And then finally for this update, here we have a Delta Airbus A321. He is of course taxiing out to the runway for a flight out to Detroit in Michigan. And just like that, that does conclude today's update of Washington Reagan National Airport. Now, just as I promised in previous updates, I will now do an overview of Washington Reagan with the aircraft off of the update, just to give you guys a bit of a view as to what Reagan is like nowadays. So Washington Reagan in real life is split into 5 concourses. However, to save space on my model airport of Washington Reagan, my version only has 4. The first pier on the right is designed to resemble Concourse E. Now, Concourse E is the newest concourse at Reagan, as it was only opened in 2021 and houses most of the American Eagle flights. Concourse E in real life has 14 gates, but as my model airport is a scaled down version of Reagan, my one only has 7. Next up, we have Concourse D and C, which I've combined into one concourse. Concourse D is entirely American, and Concourse C is shared between both American and JetBlue. In reality, about half the flights that depart from DCA are American, but because I wanted more diversity, I decided to drastically downscale the American Airlines portions of the airport to allow for a higher level of flights from other airlines. Because of this, my Concourse C and D mashup features 8 gates, including one 767 compatible gate, and houses American mainline, occasionally American Eagle like we saw in today's update, JetBlue and Alaska. Next up we have Concourse B, which in real life has 12 gates and houses Alaska, Delta and United. However, in my version of DCA, because I like to add a lot of United and Delta flights, I moved Alaska in with JetBlue. And then finally for the concourses, there's Concourse A, and Concourse A is exactly how it should be when compared to real life. Concourse A houses Southwest, Frontier and Air Canada, exactly how it does on my model airports. Then there's also a hard stand spot for storage when aircraft have to be stored and they're just kind of put here for a while. Private use of private jets, special visitors like when we had the Vietnamese 787 arrive into Reagan a couple years ago, or even the US Coast Guard aircraft, which do fly into Reagan occasionally. But apart from that, that does conclude the overview of Reagan and also today's update. So I want to thank you very much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.